What's up, everybody? Hey, so welcome back, and want to let you guys in on a little art project I'm working on. And so a lot of the things will be camping, biking, hiking, all this stuff, but also DIY stuff. I love art. I love making props, making set pieces. And recently I've been commissioned to basically make a set piece for a graduation party. And this graduation party has a theme. And the theme, as you can see behind me, might have something to do with a round door that's green. And so as a DIY little how-to video, I thought I would take a little segment of this and show you a little bit about what I'm doing with this door, with this facade. So obviously Lord of the Rings is what we're going with here. And so this is the interior side. And so of the tent, it's gonna be put up against the tent. And so guests are gonna walk through it as they enter the party and get into the main area. So that's the interior side, and it's gonna be functional, fully functional. And so this is what the outside looks like. And so there are some things missing. So right there is where I need to make some faux bricks. If you look at the picture, or if you watch the movie, you'll see that this border has like a sunburst pattern of bricks around the door and the windows. And so I'm gonna show you what it looks like, or how I decided to make the brick trim that's gonna go on the facade. So I'm gonna make it out of plywood, the 1/4-inch plywood. Usually you get it, looks like this, right? 1/4-inch plywood, it's probably $25 a sheet or so at the box store. And so we're gonna turn it into a brick. And some of you are probably thinking, why not foam? And it's a good question. A couple of reasons. One, I need to transport it. This thing is going to be driven 9 hours away for install, and so I need it to be durable. I like carving foam. Foam is a good time. I really enjoy it. You can get real creative, very realistic, but I don't want things to potentially fall off, not glue, adhere very well, because this is just gonna get glued to another piece of this. And so wood glue works great. It'll hold that thing together. If it can hold a cutting board together, it'll hold this together for a few weeks. And so I don't want foam to chip and break and have like chunk missing when I get there that I've got to then on site try to fix and repair. So that's why I'm gonna go with making them out of wood. And so this is what I've done to do that. So I'm gonna show you what that process looks like. Pro tip from an amateur. Since I only need to be painting one side of these, basically the way I did it, catch you up to speed. Once I had my strips cut, I just took and just rounded off the edges a little bit. Just hit them with the belt sander and just kind of made that a little bit more brick-like. And so that's what I got. Now I got to paint a whole bunch of these. I don't want them to move around, and I don't want to sit here and paint and get myself all messy in the process. So, little piece of painter's tape, stick it to the back, and then when you put it on your cardboard, it's not gonna go anywhere. You can just paint everything with a brush. Easy peasy, lemonade. And then it'll just all work out nice. You can just lay everything out, paint it, nothing's gonna move. It's gonna go super quick, maybe 10 minutes of time, and you will be glad you did, because the painting part will go quickly and much cleaner than if you had to try to hold on to them. All right, pro tip from an amateur. Buy yourself one of these old computer fans. These are awesome, these are great. They're not very expensive. Get one on Amazon. Some of them have multi-speeds or whatever. Get one of these, set it up on your work, and that thing's gonna dry super fast. All right, so the key to realism in this case is layers. So I brushed on the middle coat, the middle value, if you will, that middle ground. And so I picked up a couple of cans of spray paint, one darker, and hopefully this one's just a tad lighter. So that's what I've got. I just grabbed these pretty arbitrarily. I just picked them up like there's one dark, there's one light. We're just gonna make some lowlights, highlights. I painted on the middle, mid-light, maybe. Let's do that. And so We're gonna hit them with some of this, and this is gonna bring out a whole lot more depth and texture, make it start looking like a brick. Also a reminder, use ventilation, proper ventilation when spraying paint. Fans, crack a door, crack a window, exhaust fan, whatever. Trust me, if you don't, things can get weird. Now the key with the low lights and the highlights when you're spraying, what gives it a good wavy kind of depth texture is instead of spraying like you're spraying something that you want solid, where you're gonna be holding your can 6-8 inches away, keep that can probably more like 12, 16, 18 inches away, and that will help it just fall a little bit more unevenly. And that's what's gonna give you a little bit of variation in the color, and that's what's gonna sell the brick idea. Now we're gonna see what this looks like. I don't know what this looks like. I don't know if it's gonna be a little bit lighter or if it's gonna be the same and practically disappear. There we go. There's the bricks. All right, so I love how they're turning out. This one's got a little bit more variation on it. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see. And again, you put a bunch of these together. That to me, pretty convincing brick. It's got a little bit rounded edges on it. All right, as you can see, I just laid them out all next to each other. And there's some good variation there. You can see some of the different ones are a little bit slightly orange. Some are slightly more red. So I think it's gonna look really good. Other thing I have to make, aside from the bricks, is to add a brick trim around the little portal windows that I'm making. And so I'll skip all the how-tos on that, but I'll show you kind of where I'm at with that. Basically took the same thing, same plywood, cut like a donut, cut a ring, whatever that fits the shape. And then I took the other side, basically scored it with just a handsaw, just drew a line, scored it with a handsaw all the way around to create the separation to look like a small little grout line. And then I took another saw and basically just cut in a little bit, just to make it pop just a little bit more. So that's how I made that. So that's gonna be a brick border. Because if these were straight bricks, there was gonna be such a gap between these, the way they fanned out in the sunburst around that window. I didn't really like it that much. So this is gonna create that solid brick vibe around the window. And I'm gonna give it the same treatment. I'm gonna probably add a little bit more dark paint to this because it's a little too average, little too solid, one color. Hey, if you guys have ideas and you've done some stuff like this before, by all means, let me know, drop a comment, and let me know how you guys have done faux finishes and faux materials before. And yeah, like, subscribe, comment, do the things, do the YouTubey things. That would be great. All right, so these are mocked up. They're not glued yet, but I'm just getting them in place. So that's what the end result is gonna look like. Sometimes you gotta do what's right, even though if it's gonna be a pain in the butt to fix it. So the example for me is this gap right here. I didn't really like how that ended, right? I didn't really like what was going on there. I felt like it's a little bit of a gap in the bricks. But that means the door hinge, bracket, and all that stuff has to come off and get redone. But that's kind of what it is. But here on this side, like that's what the other side looks like. And that looks so much nicer when everything just goes right behind there. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go back, paint a few more bricks, probably another 20 or 30, 25 or so, and get them on there so that this will look like it's basically right behind there. So that'll look, it's the way it's supposed to look, for sure. It's all in the details.